History, artistry, legendary. Since 1953, the ACC has produced many legends, from Roman to Tory.
Holt all the way in, touchdown NC State.
Winky to Michael Dean. Gino to Joe. Heisman winners,
Touchdown Seminoles.
Hall of Famers, following in their footsteps, the greatest and largest ACC Football Legends class ever, announced right now on ACC Live. This is ACC Live. I'm Jeff Fischel. He is Miami Hurricane and NFL great Clinton Portis. Today, we announce a new class of ACC legends. So, CP, what in your mind does it take to be a football legend?
I think when you think of legends, you think of guys that exemplify on and off the field. You think of guys that uplift the people around them. You think of guys that got character, leadership qualities, and make everything and everybody around them better. So when you look at this group of guys, I think that's leadership legends.
Now, I'm sure one day, CP, you will be an ACC legend, but not yet, not today. However, one of your boys is. The first legend we want to announce, Miami great Edgerrin James, second on Miami's all-time rushing list, the number 4 overall pick in the 1999 NFL Draft. He was NFL Rookie of the Year for the Colts, led the league in rushing twice, was a Pro Bowler 4 times, and CP, he ended his career with over 10,000 rushing yards.
I think when you look to Edgerrin James, when you look at what he brought to the University of Miami and the guys that followed, I think Edgerrin James put the University of Miami back on the map. You know, the historical win against UCLA that got all of us after to come. I think it started with Edgerrin James and just the effect that he left on everyone at the university. Anytime you go back, you're going to see that number 5 in the Miami Heat Arena, downtown Miami, all over the University of Miami. So I think he's well deserving and he appreciates this honor.
Now, we're trying to get Edge on the show. We were working on that for today. We couldn't work it out, but we will definitely have him join us another day soon. So we add Edge to this great list, the Hurricanes ACC legends since Miami joined the conference. You know, it started out as like a quarterback binge. Hey, it used to be quarterback U. But then it started turning into running back U down in South Florida. James is the first, but definitely not the last. I suspect we could see more running backs soon. Think of them: Otis Anderson, Melvin Bratton, Alonzo Highsmith, Najee Davenport, Cleveland Gary, Frank Gore, Willis McGahee, and oh yeah, CP.
I mean, when you
I promise, I will put in the good word for you.
Hey, I appreciate you putting in the good word. But when you think running backs from the University of Miami, I think now that Edge is out of the way, before and after me, I think there's so many guys that are sitting like, yeah, I'm up next. So Edge is out of the way. Hopefully I'm up next. But if I'm not, I think the guys that were before and after me will all be deserving of this.
All right, let's look at more of the legends. For 2013, also on the list, Mike Cloud, one of Boston College's all-time leading rushers. Terry Kennard, a member of the College Football Hall of Fame. 2 guys who both ended up with the Atlanta Falcons in the NFL, Duke's Wes Chesson and Florida State's Jamie Dukes. Robert Levette, Georgia Tech's all-time leader in rushing yards and touchdowns. 2 quarterbacks made this year's class. One of them, you know him by his nickname, Boomer. Boomer Esiason is Maryland's 2013 legend, the last Terrapins ACC legend before the school heads to the Big Ten. He set 17 school records, finishing with over 6,000 passing yards at Maryland. He then went on to be the 1988 NFL MVP, and he threw for over 37,000 yards for the Bengals and Jets.
I think so many guys come out playing Pop Warner or playing throw-up tackle. When you play football in the streets, want to be Joe Montana, want to be Steve Young, Warren Moon, and all those guys. Growing up, I was Boomer Esiason. That nickname alone made me want to be Boomer. And then when you think Ickey Woods, Brooks, Francis, you had so many guys that made you want to be a Bengal. So congratulations to Boomer Esiason.
Absolutely well-deserved. The rest of the legends. North Carolina's Ken Willard, a 4-time NFL Pro Bowler. NC State twins, that's right, the Wolfpack gets 2 of them. Dave and Don Buckley, they were even drafted both by the Jets. Floyd Little, that's right, Hall of Famer Floyd Little. Tom Scott played 2 ways for UVA in the 50s for Virginia Tech. Wide receiver Andre Davis. And Wake Forest quarterback in the late 70s, Jay Venuto. Johnny Majors is proud of the wins and bowl games and the championships, but he says that's not what he thinks of when he looks back at his coaching career.
I've been spoiled by how well I've been treated by people. In the long run, most of all, a lot more than I've been mistreated. I'm not worried at all what they say about me after I'm gone. or what they think about me, because I'd like to be known as a builder and a teacher and somebody who taught people how to play and how to have more pride in themselves and to believe that they could be built to be winners if they did what we told them to do and asked them to do.
Majors, you won a national title at Pitt in '76. That team was led by Heisman Trophy winner, future Hall of Famer Tony Dorsett. He then coached 16 seasons at Tennessee, that's his alma mater, before returning back to Pitt for 4 more years. Now, CP, who are some of the great coaches you played for and against?
I think playing against, I would start off, you think of Bobby Bowden, you think of Frank Beamer. Those coaches, anytime you played them, you knew they were going to have a great team. Guys I played for, it don't get any better than Mike Shanahan in Denver, and then playing for a legendary Joe Gibbs. These guys will go down as all-time great coaches when it's all said and done. So having the opportunity to play for them was great for me.
Absolutely. 5 running backs are in this year's class. We talked about edge, but only 1 is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. An outstanding choice as the first Syracuse ACC legend, Floyd Little. CP, you had to be great to wear number 44 at the Qs.
Not only did you have to be great, when you look at Floyd Little, who was the last of these guys that wore 44, you think of you think of Ernie Davis, you think of Jim Brown were the guys before him, and he's the first to go in. That speaks volumes to say that Floyd Little comes in before Jim Brown or Ernie Davis. So Syracuse was loaded, and I see why 44 is retired.
There will be some great Syracuse names that become ACC legends over the years. I mean, think about it. You mentioned Jim Brown, Art Monk, Larry Zonka, Dick McPherson, Don McPherson, Rob Moore, Marvin Harrison, Donovan McNabb. It goes on and on. Syracuse, great tradition. Now, the youngest player in this year's class is Virginia Tech wide receiver Andre Davis. Just 34 years old, he was on the '99 Virginia Tech team that played Florida State for the national title. In fact, Davis was on the cover of Sports Illustrated that year. He went on to a long NFL career, and I know you played against him.
You know, that '99 team beat us so bad in Blacksburg, Virginia. I would never forget, you know, how much of a threat he was downfield. You know, he came in on track scholarship. And so young guys today, when you mention track scholarships, it's like, no, I'm not going to that school. Andre Davis came into Virginia Tech as a track guy and turns out to be a legend this early in his career. I think that's great.
Davis went on to play for the Browns, the Pats, the Bills, and the Texans in the NFL. And those are the outstanding ACC legends for 2013. Those Hokies, the current edition, have a huge game tomorrow night. Their ACC opener against Georgia Tech. The Hokies 3-1. The Yellow Jackets 4-0. These are the only 2 schools that have ever won the Coastal Division. In fact, before last year, the winner of this game went on to win the division 7 straight times. Last year, the Hokies won, but Georgia Tech won the division. It's the first time in 5 years that neither team is ranked, though I do think if the Yellow Jackets win and look good doing it, they'll be in the top 25 next week. Paul Johnson, you know, he's always tinkering with that triple option. This year, he's added, have you noticed the diamond formation with Vadley in the shotgun? Clinton, what kind of pressure does that put on the defense?
Well, I think when you look at a wide open offense of today's society, taking this back, going to the diamond formation, giving Vadley an opportunity to see the entire field instead of putting him under center, I think he has an opportunity to see the entire field. As you look here, you watch the DN go in, you give it to the back going outside. If the DN go out, Vadley gets the opportunity to keep the ball. And then when you look at the execution of this play, how many guys are making plays downfield? Look at the blocks, the cut blocks in front of him. So that's great. Then when you look at the passes out of this, it frees linebackers. You can't even rush this quarterback because you have to wait and see. So it frees linebackers to open up underneath coverage, and it gives you an opportunity to move the chains, which is great.
This Georgia Tech offense really moving right now well with Vadley at quarterback. All right, Virginia Tech will be wearing those stone helmets tomorrow night. Georgia Tech in its throwback jerseys. I don't know if you'll recognize either team. Here's more of this week's ACC schedule. The Canes are at South Florida. UNC coming off the loss to Georgia Tech at home against East Carolina. And an interesting conference matchup, UVA at Pitt. But CP, let's talk about your Hurricanes. And let's be honest, South Florida, not terribly good. Stephen Morris, though recovering from a sprained ankle, that game last week, they rolled up 77 points, but he wasn't there for much of it. Is this offense where it needs to be?
Well, I don't think the offense is where it needs to be, but I think you give South Florida a heavy dose of Duke Johnson in this game. Don't put too much pressure on Stephen Morris, whether he plays or not. I don't think he's needed to play in this game. Give them a heavy dose of Duke Johnson early on. Get the game over with. Keep your troops healthy. Get in and out of the game healthy, because we have a long, lengthy schedule. I mean, I think we're set up to do something spectacular this year, like represent the Coastal, like you guys, Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech. Are you kidding me? Like, Miami is back.
He raises a good point about being careful about injuries, because yes, you want to get this offense in rhythm. You know, you want to get Stephen Morris and James Coley on the same page. But next week against Georgia Tech, and that is a huge game, no doubt. The rest of this week's schedule: Duke hosting Troy at Wallace Wade. The Wolfpack, they put up a good fight against Clemson last week, now at home against Central Michigan. 2 more conference games. Number 8 Florida State travels to Chestnut Hill. Number 3 Clemson hosts Wake in Death Valley. Clemson, Florida State. CP, what do you want to see from these teams on Saturday?
I would love to see Clemson defense pitch a shutout. Go out, create turnovers, wreak havoc early in the game. You're playing Wake Forest. Go out, create turnovers, wreak havoc, get in off the field. You know Clemson offense will carry them. But Taj Boyd, Sammy Watkins going to do a great job. Florida State, I want them to put teams away early. I think when you look at how dynamic Florida State is as a team, go out and put up points. You know, last week they played Nevada 7-7, 17 game. Go out and blow out the teams you're supposed to blow out in the first half. Don't give them hope. Don't let it become a game. And be the Florida State, the dominant Florida State that you should be against powder puff teams.
All right, we expect both of these teams, Clemson and Florida State, to win Saturday. But if one team gets a challenge, who's getting the scare?
Well, I think when you look at Florida State going up to Boston College, and Boston College having Andre Williams, such tough back, you need to have a physical team to go in and play against Florida State. So I think Boston College is a tough place to play. It would be surprising for Boston College to beat Florida State, but if any team would have a chance, it would be them.
All right. If Clemson or Florida State loses this week, there's one question I will definitely be asking myself, and that question is:
Clemson, Florida State, are you serious?
That's right, it's time for Are You Serious? We start with a moment that was serious for Dabo Swinney. After Clemson's Isaiah Battle threw this punch, Dabo was very upset. And that's when we noticed what Dabo was telling Isaiah Battle.
I think when you look at this, I think there's no space for this in the game, and cameras are everywhere. For Dabo to step up, and you know Dabo is a friend of mine. I think he pulled him to the side, and as we read his lips, he comes in and he says, like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah, he's stealing your material.
Yeah, and he really wanted to say, "Son, are you serious?"
Just like CP would. Hey, Duke and Pitt combined for 113 points last week. Pitt won 58-55. Imagine how many points Duke could have won if they hadn't turned the ball over a few times. Tom Savage tied an ACC record with 6 touchdowns for the Panthers. CP, clearly there's no letter D in ACC.
I mean, one of these teams had to lose to go out and put up 113 points. 113 points. D coordinators are non-existent. It's almost like the running back position. D coordinators are becoming extinct. How do a team score 55 points and lose? You have to look at this. You have to look at D coordinators. I don't know if I say Duke. I don't know if I say Pittsburgh, but I say defensive coordinators for this game. Are you serious?
Points are up everywhere. That was a fantastic game, though. Actually, Virginia Tech won in triple overtime. Those were a couple of great ones, but there were also some clunkers. Florida State, Miami, Syracuse, Maryland, and Virginia won by a combined score of 271-30. It wasn't just the ACC, though. Across the country, there just weren't a lot of great games.
I mean, you're getting powder puff teams week 4, week 5 of the season. That's difficult to do. When you get powder puff teams this late, I remember week 1, week 2 used to be the games you wanted to get out of the way, get your team in rhythm. Now all of a sudden it's down the line. Week 4, week 7, week 9. You basically giving guys an opportunity to walk into the championship game. So when I look at this, I say schedule guards. Are you serious?
One game we actually thought would be tough. Maryland embarrassed West Virginia 37-0. One moment late in the game really summed up the Mountaineers and their Keystone Cops Act. Ford Childress, what were you thinking there?
The running back is coming off a chop block. This is a quarterback that's above the elements, playing outside of his elements, just trying to make anything happen. You put your team in a bad position. Sometimes you just got to chalk it up, take the loss. Don't throw this pitch. I know the offensive coordinator, the head coach, everyone's looking at this guy and saying, "Are you serious?"
And you know what I'm thinking when I see that? Crab cakes and football.
Hot route. Hot route.
That's what Maryland does.
Hot route.
Hot route. Exactly.
Hot route.
Anyone know what movie that's from? Tweet us the answer at the ACCDN. There's no reward other than my respect, appreciation, and undying gratitude. But after the games this weekend, tweet us your ideas for Are You Serious if we use it for the show. There is a reward. Wait for it. Wait for it. Oh, yes. Dig deep into the vault for one of these beauties. An ACC Digital Network t-shirt right here.
Jeff.
Oh, yes.
Are you serious?
That's right. This can be yours. Tweet us your ideas for Are You Serious at the ACCDN.
What is that, velvet?
Tomorrow night, great ACC soccer action live here on the ACC Digital Network. #1 Virginia visiting Duke. The Cavs undefeated so far. Watch the entire match streaming live on the ACC.com. Plus, actually, I will be there to help bring you the coverage. Live ACC soccer only on the ACCDN. We're moving to the orange portion of the show. Besides the color orange, what do Syracuse and Virginia Tech have in common? We'll do some math to figure this one out next on ACC Live.
Need to go another 84 yards to win the game. Taylor looking desperately, now throws it deep, has a man open! Unbelievable! Danny Cole all the way out of bounds at the 3. He did not get in.
Welcome back to ACC Live. I'm Jeff Fischel. He's Clinton Portis. That was a great play from former Virginia Tech star Tyrod Taylor, who now also owns a Super Bowl ring. Solid all-around player for Virginia Tech.
I think that's what Tyrod was known for during his time at Virginia Tech, making plays, being a great playmaker. My biggest question right there is, how did Cole not get in the end zone? I'm not going 82 yards and not diving. I would have dove from like the 5-yard line if I didn't have anything left in the tank. So you got to finish that play.
That was 2009 versus Nebraska, and you have to see what happens next because, like you saw, Danny Cole's out of bounds at the 3. We will show you that tomorrow on ACC Throwback. The whole game, a great game, cut down to a half hour. So sit in your pod at work, pretend you're doing work, and watch the game on the ACCDN. And while you do, follow our Twitter feed for great nuggets related to the game at the ACCDN. It's all part of the weekly lineup here. We start with the game of the week, the best game from Saturday, cut down to 7 minutes. This week, it's Virginia Tech Marshall in 3 OTs. Ran power play, CP's top 3, more on that coming up. ACC Live, Throwback, Soccer Weekly, and then Saturday, the bread and butter, games and highlights of every ACC game. And now for some the other headlines from across the conference, this is the ACC Now, brought to you by Ruby Tuesday. Cornerback Anton Exum could be back next week for Virginia Tech. That's just amazing. In January, playing pickup hoops, he tore his ACL and broke his leg. Monday, he'll get a checkup and could be cleared to play next Saturday against North Carolina. That's incredible. Just about an 8-month recovery, and that will make Bud Foster's defense 5th in the nation even better. Reports say Mike Glennon is the new starting quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The NC State rookie gets his shot Sunday against the Arizona Cardinals. He replaces Josh Freeman, who's really struggled during the Bucs' 0-3 start. Glennon was the 73rd overall pick in the draft. An awesome idea from Mark Turgeon and the Maryland basketball program. The Terps are embracing nostalgia and going old school. They'll hold their Midnight Madness at Cole Fieldhouse next month. Maryland has not played there since moving into the Comcast Center 11 years ago. Lefty Drizel and Gary Williams both are calling this a great idea. Our closing number is 700. With Syracuse and Virginia winning Saturday, that's how many all-time wins both schools have. Virginia Tech and Georgia Tech could both reach 700 by the end of the season. Pitt could get there by the end of next season. And that's the ACC Now, brought to you by Ruby Tuesday. You know, CP, I was cruising the internet and I saw Miley Cyrus has this new video, 23, which isn't necessarily relevant to ACC Live, except that in the video, her wardrobe is an ode to North Carolina great Michael Jordan. Have you seen this?
Yeah, I did, actually, and I think
just once or twice, maybe?
It's great to pay homage to Michael Jordan, but Miley Cyrus at this point is really...
All right, so that's number 23 if you've seen it. Now, you wore number 26. If someone were to write a song as an ode to number 26, who should sing it?
Probably Ciara or Beyonce. You cut that 26 up, put it all over their body, let them whine, and, you know, I think,
There you go. One other note from number 23. It's Taj Boyd's 23rd birthday today. Happy birthday, Taj. Now, when you were 23, you were already an NFL vet at this point.
Man, by the age of 23, I had won Rookie of the Year, played 2 magnificent seasons, went to the Pro Bowl, and been traded all in that span. So Taj Boyd to be 23, leading the Clemson Tigers right now. Happy birthday.
Absolutely. And from 23 to 3, what's your top 3 this week?
I build a special running back in my top 3. You got to check it out. I take 3 players from the ACC, create this one dynamic person, and I cap it off because I didn't have a head to use. I had to use.
How can you resist? So Clinton's head combined with 3 important features that any running back must have to be great. Check that out at theacc.com. Highlights and must-see moments from Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech tomorrow night, and I will be at the Virginia Duke soccer match tomorrow, which we'll be streaming live. Thank you for watching ACC Live. Thanks for watching our debut of the 2013 ACC Legends here on the ACC Digital Network.